of Outside the Letterbox. Are we live now?
I think we're live now. I think they got most of that.
It got most of that?
No, it got like half of it. I don't think it got it.
We'll start again. Ready? Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Outside the Letterbox. My name is Paul Duda, and I'm here with...
Nick Van Shout.
Who's supposed to go?
I don't know.
I'm here. Hi. How's it going?
Who are you?
I'm Joe. I'm Joe Campbell.
Okay.
Hi.
So, all right, and we're here to talk about some of the movies we've watched recently, some movies we've seen in theaters, film news, and today we're going to talk about Oscar predictions as well. So I'm going to start off with Nick. What have you watched most recently?
What have I watched most recently? I'm going to limit it to what I watched yesterday because I watched a lot of stuff in the past week. Just kind of catch everyone up. So I'm doing the 365 movie challenge, which is basically you watch one movie a day for the whole year. As of right now, I'm about a week behind. So yesterday I did a lot of catching up. I watched 4 movies yesterday. I watched Cool Hand Luke, 1967, Paul Newman. I watched The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra. I watched The Third Man, and then James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause.
Nice.
All really good movies. I especially Cool Hand Luke easily stood out to me. It's a prison film. I feel like it had a lot of the same themes that something like Shawshank Redemption has. I really dug that one. Paul Newman's great. He's the type of movie star that we don't have today anymore. He's the kind of guy who can be rough around the edges, but with one flash of that smile, can win you over. It was really good. I don't know if you guys have seen any of those, but that's what I've been watching recently.
I've seen The Manchurian Candidate when I was younger. I don't remember I remember it being like, when I was a kid, it being like kind of scary, and I know they remade it with Denzel Washington, but
I had the first time I had watched it was, I think it was like 10 years ago on PBS, and I remember it was a weird, coming in halfway during that movie was a very strange experience, so it was nice to be able to finally see the whole thing.
Sweet.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's cool. You'd like it. It's Cold War thriller, paranoia, brainwashing, assassin.
Wait, seriously? You mean the Denzel Washington movie? Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that I haven't seen the Denzel Washington version, but
I've seen both of them, and they're pretty much, as I recall, they're pretty much, maybe I'm wrong, I could be way off, but they're pretty much the same thing, just set in different times, like with different bad guys, basically. But the old one is like Russian era, like brainwashing, right?
Yeah, it's the Korean War. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Sweet. So yeah, that's awesome. And you said you're doing that 365-day movie challenge?
Yeah.
Are you behind or ahead?
Yeah, so I'm behind by about 7 to 10 days, I think.
Oh my gosh, Nick, you're slacking.
But I mean, like realistically, to me, if I hit like 250 at the end of the year, I think that's better than any other. So
I think if you hit 200 by the end of the year, that'll be impressive.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I mean, in order to do that, you have to average like what, one movie every single day, and if you miss one, then you have to watch two a day or something like that. I'm like, I don't know, it just sounds like a lot of work, a lot more work than I could keep up with.
But I mean, that's kind of the point of it was to kind of, because I know when I went home on a break, so from like October to December, I got really kind of lazy and would just watch like episodes of The Office and stuff like that. And I got into very like binge watching, like not really thinking about it, just kind of like putting stuff on in the background. So kind of the whole point of this is kind of to, not to make it work, but like to make it, make an effort to actually like sit down, watch these movies, pay attention, actually try to get something out of it instead of just mindlessly throwing something on and then turning it off halfway through, or
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So Joe, what have you watched recently?
What have I watched recently? I'm glad you asked, Paul. I watched this week. I watched Fritz Lang's M. Actually, the Blu-ray I have. I don't know. It's really interesting. Fritz Lang's one of those directors that I really want to see more of his stuff. Like, I think the only 2 movies of his that I've seen so far are Metropolis and M. But he's like one of those directors that because he came from the silent era, he kind of like had like that kind of the dramatic, big budget kind of film persona, especially with Metropolis. I kind of want to see some of his smaller movies. Like some of his dramas and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I watched Dino Croc yesterday.
That is so you, Joe.
Actually, it was Brian. Brian was the one. One of my roommates, Brian. He's the one who put it on, actually. But it was glorious, sci-fi original. Other than that, though, the two that are really worth talking about are I did kind of a double feature earlier this week. Was The Raid with Dread, which
The Raid is good. The Raid is really
fantastic.
But Dread is also awesome.
Dread is also
fantastic.
Are they? I've seen Dread, but I haven't seen The Raid. I've heard it's like the same plot though.
It's pretty much exactly the same plot, honestly. I mean, like even down to like individual scenes of sneaking into people's house or apartments and that kind of stuff without giving too much of the plot away. But it's really honestly like the whole idea of just kind of these group of guys with these guys going from the bottom of a building to the top of the building to bust a drug ring. It's the exact same plot. It's just they're both done extraordinarily well, and I don't care that they both came out around the same time, that they're the same movie or anything. They're just so much fun to watch,
I can't wait for Raid 2. Like, the trailer for that just looks insane. Like, a lot of people always complain about, like, mindless action, and The Raid is not, like, I mean, even though the movie is pretty much wall-to-wall action, like, it doesn't feel, like, it's so well done that you're willing to forgive it, I honestly don't remember any character or plot stuff. I mean, it's been, like, a year or two since I've seen it, but, yeah, it's...
Yeah, you see, plot-wise, actually, that's what really kind of caught me by surprise with The Raid was that, like, it starts off with, like, this group of SWAT guys, but then the film focuses eventually on, like, just, like, this one SWAT guy or whatever they are, and him and his brother, who's a guy who works for the drug ring. So it becomes kind of like a character piece with just wall-to-wall, extraordinarily well done, very intense wall-to-wall action. But it ends up focusing more just on these two guys and how they relate to each other and how they kind of came from different paths. I don't know. It's a lot more interesting than I remembered it being, honestly, on that front. Sweet. The Raid 2, I am cautiously excited about that one. One of the beauties of the first one is that the whole movie does just take place in this building. I'm a little worried about them expanding it out, turning it into something a little more complicated than it needs to be, but it still looks pretty badass from what we've seen.
Well, those kinds of movies aren't, obviously you guys know, aren't really my cup of tea exactly. But I mean, when I hear The Raid, the way people talk about The Raid is similar to the way people talked about Oldboy to me. And I watched Oldboy, and I was not particularly impressed by that.
The original or the Josh Brolin remake?
Oh, the original one. Cool, okay, like some of the scenes were pretty cool, but then like you get to the end and you're like, this is just messed up. Like, why did I watch this movie?
Well, it's funny. It's funny because you mentioned Oldboy because I've seen the remake and the original one. I really actually enjoyed the original. It is a very tough movie. It is really messed up. I kind of felt like they made it feel. They at least made it feel like there was a point to it all. I love the main guy in that movie, and maybe it's because it's a foreign film, but it got a free pass for me, even though it was really messed up. Whereas I watched the Josh Brolin one, just because it was Americanized, it felt really exploitative all of a sudden and just really unnecessary. A lot of that nasty stuff in there.
And the Raid doesn't have a lot of exploitive stuff?
Oh, the Raid has so much exploitive stuff, but it's so well done.
Excellent. Great. It sounds like I'm going to hate it. But
come over, you can watch it.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go. I recently watched, in theaters, Joe and I saw Nonstop.
Nice.
Which was
that's been getting surprisingly like decent reviews. So I'm interested in what you guys thought.
I had like a ton of fun watching that movie. Like I was laughing because parts of it were kind of stupid. I was like tense because some of parts of it were kind of tense. It was fun to watch Liam Neeson, kick some ass. But I mean, it was just a fun movie. Like, if you're going in and expecting like a super, like intense thriller where like everything's so smart and like they carefully made sure there were no plot holes. This is not that movie.
Well, honestly, the trailers for this movie, I think, showed you what it was perfectly. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at this movie and think, oh man, this is like Liam Neeson in the past 4 movies he's been in with, Taken, and then what was the other one? The Gray.
Yeah.
Taken
Your
2.
Punch is a wolf.
Well, like, this is I would say this is the best of any of those. Maybe not Taken, because Taken has that sort of like original, like, sort of Liam Neeson in an action movie thing to it.
Yeah.
But I honestly enjoyed this more than Taken. I definitely enjoyed it more than Taken 2. Like Taken 2 was so bad, but and I think it was better than The Gray. But this also this had that sort of thriller aspect, like you could relate it to like Phone Booth or something like that. Just contained space.
Collateral.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was really entertaining. It was worth a watch. I don't know that if you can see it for free in a theater, sure, but because that's how Joe works at the theater, so we got in there to see it. But
Nice.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, Joe. I can edit that out.
No, I don't care.
But yeah, and so but like it's worth renting for sure if you're just looking for a fun movie to watch. The other movie I watched, I've been on like an '80s like teen film kick.
Yeah.
So I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I watched Pretty in Pink. Really John Hughes movies. Although I watched Say Anything, which was like pretty clearly, and I've never seen a lot of these, so like Say Anything was pretty clearly like a John Hughes knockoff. But then on Sunday, I was talking about the most recent one I watched. On Sunday, I watched Real Genius.
Oh, nice.
But that was such a great movie. Like, I don't know what it is about that movie specifically because it's very like campy '80s movie where like most of what's happening cannot ever actually happen. But it was very enjoyable, very funny. Val Kilmer is hilarious in it. And I don't know who. It's funny because Val Kilmer's on like the poster and everything for it, but he's not. He's technically like the side character. There's like that. There's the kid that you follow through the whole movie that like I don't even remember the name, and I definitely will never know who the actor is. But
probably only done one thing in his entire career.
A real genius. It was very enjoyable. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't. Actually, that's kind of an era of film where it sounds like you had a very different '80s film experience than I did.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were busy watching like Evil Dead and stuff, that's so funny too because I can totally appreciate those movies. But just recently, I've been like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and watch these like '80s teen comedies. But this, I mean, I guess this was kind of like War Games, except more campy. I don't know if either of you have seen War Games.
I've been meaning to watch War Games for a while, actually. It's on Netflix, and so I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, so I'll probably continue that kick as long as I can find movies to watch because I'm really enjoying just that 80s teen comedy thing right now.
So segue, since we're talking about the 80s, I literally just got handed to me a package in the mail, and it was my copy of the Criterion edition of Thief, the Michael Mann, James Caan 80s movie. If you've seen Drive, this is basically where that movie got its mojo from.
Really?
So, yeah. So it's a very cool 80s, synth soundtrack, neon colors. So I'm gonna recommend that. You guys should check it out. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but the packaging looks awesome. So I just thought I'd throw that out there before we moved on.
Sweet. Cool. Okie dokie. I think did anyone else have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Okay. Sweet. All right. So now we're going to move on to Oscar predictions, sort of, kind of, yeah?
Yeah.
I think each of us is probably going to talk about which we'd like to see win and which one will probably win.
Yes.
And this might get a little heated. I don't know. I don't think any of us are that passionate about any of the movies this year, except, well, I'm pretty passionate about one of them. But I'm just saying I don't think we disagree that much. So I guess we'll start with Joe this time. So
Do you want to go? You want to go?
Hold on.
Like
Sorry.
predictions, like are we going by category or?
Yeah. We'll start with we'll just talk about Best Picture for starters.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
see where that leads us.
I think for me, as along with the rest of the world, it's come down to between 3 movies. I've narrowed it down to 2 though. At this point, between Gravity, 12 Years a Slave, and Philomena.
What?
No, not really. No, Gravity,
no.
12 Years a Slave, and American Hustle. And for me at this point, really, honestly, American Hustle is kind of out of the game. I think it's going to come down between Gravity and 12 Years. And as of right now, just today, I kind of narrowed it down to my money's on Gravity right now, just because 12 Years a Slave, it's a very polarizing movie. And I think for a movie to kind of be unanimously win the Oscars, I don't think it can be polarizing. So I don't know. My money's on Gravity right now, but that could change all the time. It's a coin flip, honestly. There.
Okay. Your money's on Gravity, though. Okay, Nick.
So I don't know if I'd bet money on it, but part of me really thinks. Originally, I thought it would be a split between director and picture, kind of what happened last year. But for some reason, I'm thinking Gravity could pull it off. And my reasons are, I mean, like, I don't know, Joe, if you've read this or just for people who might be listening. So Hollywood Reporter has been putting out these articles where it's kind of like they get input from the actual people who are, filling out ballots and stuff like that. And it's been interesting to read some of those responses because a lot of these people, like, there's one guy who didn't even watch 12 Years a Slave the whole way through, and yet he voted for it anyway. So that, like, stuff like that is always iffy to me. Like, either it could be a ton of people voting for that just because they feel like they need to, or a ton of people won't vote for it because they, can't stand it or whatever. Like, it could go either way on that. But the big thing for me is when I was kind of tallying up in my head what my predictions were, kind of what, I thought would win, and then I realized what number of Oscars each film would come out with. 12 Years a Slave does not have a lot else going for it, as opposed to like
I feel the same way.
Gravity is, could sweep everything if it wanted to. 12 Years a Slave, though, the only things it seems to really have, in its pocket is probably Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actress, and then Best Picture. And so it would, if 12 Years pulls off the win, it would be a very low Oscar count. Whereas Gravity, it just seems like Gravity is everyone. If it's not the number 1 movie, it's their number 2 movie, which is really important there too. So I'm gonna go with Gravity after that long-winded explanation of why.
Well, that's, I honestly have not watched 12 Years a Slave yet.
You're racist.
Well, I am planning on it. I've been planning on it, and I didn't find the time while it was in theaters, so I'll probably rent it off iTunes.
Actually, that's a quick thing, real quick. How many of the Best Picture nominees have each of us seen or not seen?
Best Picture nominees? I've seen all of them except for Philomena, actually.
Let me see. I've actually only seen 4 of them, it looks like. I feel lame.
Ah, Paul, wow, gosh.
Well, okay, so I'm avoiding Wolf of Wall Street.
Like the plague.
Well, not like the plague. I was waiting for it to come. I was hoping it would, I don't know why I was hoping for this, but I was hoping it would hit video before, because I don't want to sit through all of that.
Are you waiting for the super extended cut, Lars von Trier cut of Wolf of Wall Street?
No. I'm waiting for it. I'm just waiting so that I can be like, okay, I don't need to watch this and just skip through it a little bit. Which sounds like a bad way to watch a movie, but with Wolf of Wall Street, I'm just like it's funny because I love Martin Scorsese. Like Gangs of New York is one of my favorite movies of all time. But like there's times where it really does seem like he it's almost like filmmaker self-indulgence, but that's the thing is I'd have to watch Wolf of Wall Street and see like what's the point here, because sometimes there is a really good point, but it doesn't sound like he always had a good point in this movie.
Just go online, YouTube the lemon scene, and you're good to go. You've seen the best part of the movie.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that's my excuse for 12 Years a Slave. Haven't had a chance to see Nebraska. Philomena haven't had a chance to. So like, I don't know. I just haven't been able to hit all of them this year. But anyway, back to my picks.
Wait. Yeah.
So for my picks, I would pick. I mean, I think Gravity. I want Gravity to win so bad. I want it to win everything. I love that movie, and anybody, even people who say the script is weak, like they knew what most of the movie was riding on when they wrote the script. Like they knew it was going to ride a lot on the visuals and a lot on the action of the movie. And I don't think the script is weak. I think people exaggerate, and that honest trailer thing. If you guys haven't seen it, the honest trailer about Gravity is hilarious. And they point out things that people make fun of in the movie, but within the context of the movie, it all works. So, there's nothing about Gravity other than maybe minor aspects of the physics that doesn't work in that movie. And it's such a technically impressive feat that I think it deserves to win. Mm-hmm. And I also think Alfonso Cuarón will definitely take Best Director.
Oh yeah, that's a shoe in there.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I was talking to Nick about this a little bit, but I think that Steve McQueen actually hurt his chances a little bit of 12 Years a Slave winning. Because there's an interview, that same interview that Nick was talking about with the people who voted, talked about how one of them talked about how he seems sort of pretentious in all his interviews and stuff, and I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and I felt sort of the same way. And I'm not an Oscar voter, obviously, none of us are. But I think acting a certain way can definitely hurt your chances when people are looking at your movie, and I think he might have hurt his chances a little bit. Not that I don't even know if he's like that, obviously, but I'm just saying from impressions that seems to have had an impact on people.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Exactly like the same way that it hurt Quentin Tarantino's chances of winning Best Screenplay last year. Yeah, I see what you mean there.
But yeah, so that's my pick for Best Picture. American Hustle, I really do think is great. I think it's a really well-made movie, but
it's a fun one.
With all the buzz that everything else is getting, I just don't think it has necessarily a chance at that.
It's the one movie. It's the one movie that's probably hurt more by all its nominations than helped, because I thought it was a really fun movie, kind of loose and whatever. But it's the kind of movie that if it wins or whatever, everyone's gonna pick apart, and it'll be, it'll be like Crash or something like that, where people for years will be like, oh, it didn't deserve to win, and unfairly so, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, it's a fun movie. I can't honestly say that I've absolutely loved it, but I think part of that's just because I have seen a lot of stuff that I really like this year. Gravity's really good. I really love 12 Years a Slave. Just talking with those three films in context, when you show me American Hustle after that, I kind of think, oh yeah, that was a fun movie, and I just kind of remember it weeks later, but don't really talk about it a whole lot.
Right.
Was there anything that didn't get nominated for Best Picture that you guys thought should have?
Place Beyond the Pines.
Place Beyond the Pines, yeah.
Hansel and Witch Hunter?
Which one?
Yeah, oh yeah, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter, he said.
Yeah. That
one. Nominated. Jeremy Renner just got snubbed this year at the Oscars. I mean, American Hustle, then Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. What's with it, guys? Come on.
But this is another one I haven't seen, but I imagine if I had, I would probably think it was snubbed, is Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds so biased saying that, but I've just heard they thought it was snubbed, and I would have probably thought it was snubbed if I had a chance to see it. I was really lame this year with the movies I hit. But, okay, what about Best Actor?
Best Actor, let me take a look at this. I mean, do we need to talk about this? Matthew McConaughey's going to win.
I think he's going to. I think the only other person who might have a chance is Chiwetel. I can't say his name. I'm so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
on this list, and I'm just looking through some of the nominations in general. Just as a side note, I'm really happy that Nebraska got as much recognition as it did. I mean, like, I'm not expecting it to win anything. I don't expect it to really be a contender or anything like that. But I was just happy that it got recognition for the film that it was. 'Cause that was a really kind of well written, really fun movie about characters. That's just like some of the most real feeling characters I think I've seen in a while.
That's the one of the films I haven't seen that I regret not seeing yet is Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great little movie. I wouldn't say it's the best of the year or anything like that, but I'm just really happy that like it got out there so people actually like know about it now.
Yeah.
I think I think McConaughey is going to win. I think that's almost more. I almost don't think it's an award though for his role in Dallas Buyers Club. I almost feel like it's an award like the past year or two of great work he started putting out. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's really good in Dallas Buyers Club, but I mean I think he's had better roles in the past year, or even like on True Detective. I think he's better on True Detective right now than he is in Dallas Buyers Club, and I think it's just that whole he's on TV right now. He's had he has a movie like out every 6 months, so he's very much someone who everyone's thinking about, and I think that's playing much to his advantage. Although I think if I had to go, Leo should win. That guy's owed an Oscar. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. My question is, he's owed an Oscar. Like he's great, but is that the role we want him to win for?
Yeah, because he's funny.
He's funny. That's a stupid reason, Nick.
Okay, but
he's the most physical performance I've seen this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like watch it. He's just electric on the screen in this movie. I think there are a lot of bad things you can't say about Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio's performance, I think, is one thing that I can't discredit the movie for, though. I mean, like me personally, I think that out of all the Best Actor nominees, I think he's the one that deserves the Oscar the most. I don't think he's gonna win, and that's fine, whatever. But if I was the one choosing the Best Actor Oscars, he'd be the one getting the award.
Same, because I think Joe can back me up on this, but the Quaalude scene is like the closest we've come to like a Charlie Chaplin physical comedy scene in the longest time I can remember. Like it almost feels like something. It almost feels like something Jim Carrey could have pulled off, but it's it's Leonardo DiCaprio. So I would have voted for DiCaprio.
Best Actress. I'm gonna speak first on this one. Just because I want to. I think for some reason I always find the Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor categories like much more boring than the Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress.
Oh yeah.
Categories. I don't know why I find those ones more interesting, but Best Actress, it sounds like Cate Blanchett's gonna win. Although I again have not seen Blue Jasmine.
I'm with you on that one.
But the ones that I have seen, I mean, Sandra Bullock, Amy Adams, Meryl Streep, like August Osage County, I really liked. I thought Meryl Streep was really good in it. I also thought Julia Roberts was really good in it. I honestly thought it was somewhat more impressive than. Man, that's tough. Amy Adams was really good in American Hustle too.
There was I'm gonna be the only person saying this because everyone loves Amy Adams in American Hustle, but there was something off about her in the movie, and maybe that was the point, but I don't know, for some reason I couldn't 100% buy her character.
And
like it's like something I can't pinpoint, and it's something that like I know I'm the exception to this, so I'm not gonna go on about it too much, but there was something off about that, which I don't know what I can
see that. It was a different performance. It's something that really stood out to me. I think it's just because the whole movie is just so overly stylized to begin with. I don't think I really noticed.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that might have been part of the point. I mean, you never really know who she is, and I think
because the whole point is about putting up masks and what's fake and what's not, and so
right.
I can go along with that.
But honestly, like. I have a question, just real quick, because do we all think Cate Blanchett's probably gonna win?
Yeah.
Okay. So if Sandra Bullock in Gravity versus Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side. Which one do you think she actually deserves an Oscar for?
Gravity, hands down.
Yeah.
No, I still haven't seen The Blind Side, and just I don't know. It's not a movie that interests me ever, so I just never got around to it.
I feel like people are going to immediately discredit this podcast because of all the movies we haven't seen.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We just gotta watch more movies. Well, especially when we're talking about the Oscars, just because there's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
What do we?
yourself,
to be fair-
Mister. I've only seen 4 of the Best Picture nominees.
My favorite movie of the year was Frances Ha, which was not going to get an Oscar nomination. So that wasn't really my favorite movie of the year, but that was one of my favorites. So
It would be a French film.
it's not French. They go to France. It's not actually French. Anyway, so I don't know. You're right, Nick. So people are probably going to discredit this podcast, but we're going to talk about it anyway because we like movies.
Yep.
Best supporting actor.
This is always my favorite category because I feel
Michael Fassbender for Dallas Buyers Club.
No, that doesn't make sense. It's probably either Jared Leto or Jonah Hill.
I think it's gonna be Jared Leto.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Jared Leto too. I mean, he played.
Yeah. Jared Leto had the Oscar as soon as he put the dress on, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay.
But
Wait. What was that, Nick?
Oh, I was gonna say I would probably vote for Fassbender though, just because he's so evil.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Best supporting actress. Well, shit.
I'm torn on this one.
This is such a frustrating category because everyone keeps saying Jennifer Lawrence is gonna win, and I love Jennifer Lawrence, and I thought she was great in that movie. And this is gonna sound so cliche because I think every person that I've heard talk about the Oscars has said this.
Yeah.
But she does not need to win this year. That was not. She was really good in that role, but she wasn't. I thought Julia Roberts was more impressive.
Julia Roberts was great in that, actually. Even June Squibb, I would be really happy. I mean, she doesn't stand a chance again, but she was great in Nebraska.
Yeah. So honestly, I think Jennifer Lawrence is going to win it, but I actually hope that Lupita Nyong'o is going to win it. I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave, like I said. But every single interview I've seen with her and hearing her talk about that part and hearing other people talk about that part, just that sounds amazing,
Yeah.
And she's
also really funny and loose outside of it, when she's on the late night talk shows and stuff, which goes a long way to her likability. It's not just I'm playing,
Yeah. And she was awesome in Nonstop. So
was she really in Nonstop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 5 minutes into the movie, and I go to Jamie, is that Lupita Nyong'o? What the heck?
That's funny.
She's just trying to boost her Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I absolutely love Jennifer Lawrence. Just not only as an actress, but she's a great actress. But as a person in general, I think she's just a really kind of a fun, joyful person, But American Hustle, she was fine in it. I don't think she deserves the Oscar for that there. So I really hope that Lupita gets it. She just, I don't know, that was a really hard role to play, it looks like, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Nick, did you want to say something?
No, I'm good. We can move on.
Okay. Best writing original screenplay.
Her. It should be her, anyway.
It should
I don't know if it'll win.
I think this is where American Hustle is going to get its
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's due.
I totally don't understand how these categories are broken up.
What do you mean?
How is American Hustle and Dallas Buyers Club an original screenplay?
Because, even though they're based on history, they're not based on a specific piece of source material.
Yeah, but Before Midnight is based less on
But a sequel is automatically considered adapted material.
I know, but I guess I just don't agree with that criteria. Anyway.
Yeah.
I can't really say anything about this topic, so. All right.
If it was up to me, I'd say her deserves it. I think her it's a very well written movie. It's a movie I think a lot of young people need to see. But yeah, that's a I don't know. It's an interesting one because I mean again I keep on bringing up Nebraska. I think I'm only one of the three of us who's seen it, but that's like a very well written movie too. It's just I think American Hustle though it's because it's the popular choice, so I think it's gonna come away with it.
Nick?
Yeah, like I said before, I think her should win. I think it could win. The whole stereotype though of the Academy being made up of older people could hurt it. I don't know if that'll be true or not. If her doesn't win, it'll be American Hustle.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But not really.
Okay.
Okay.
As far as best adapted screenplay, I mean again that's another one of those 12 Years a Slave. I think that one has the hands down right there.
I Before Midnight should win.
Like I'm a huge fan of.
Whoa, Paul.
I'm going to take a page out of Joe's book, and if I was picking, I think Before Midnight should win. I think I've read parts of that screenplay. Is that anyway?
You read it back in the 80s.
Yeah. But maybe yeah. But anyway, okay. I think the last one that we're going to talk about, unless you guys want to talk about specific other categories, is Best Animated Feature Film.
Frozen.
I think Frozen's going to win for sure, but do we think anything else deserves it?
I haven't seen The Wind Rises yet. Actually, my theater we just got it this past weekend, so I haven't had a chance to get around to it yet. But from the bits and pieces I've seen, it's just a beautiful movie, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but my guess is that when I see that one, it's probably gonna be my top pick. I've only seen, other than that, Frozen, Despicable Me 2, and The Cruise. I haven't seen Ernest and Celestine, but out of all of those, I'm not the biggest fan of Frozen. It was fine. I just didn't go crazy for it. But I'm like out of The Cruise and Despicable Me 2, I'd probably go with Frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Nick liked Frozen a lot. I liked Frozen a lot too. And I think of the three that I haven't seen The Wind Rises either, although I think it, just based off of, I don't know if you guys have heard of any of the controversy around it, but apparently there's some revisionist history going on with the characters in The Wind Rises.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's
the guy who made the bombers for Japan in World War II or something like that.
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't seen it. I just read about it, and that makes it sound iffy to me already. It could very well be a very beautiful film, but if it's setting up people to be heroes or icons that shouldn't necessarily be icons, then I don't know. But I would pick Frozen probably. I mean, I liked both The Croods and Despicable Me too, but they felt I don't know. The Croods felt like a version of Ice Age for more than one reason, and Despicable Me 2 was fine. It was fun, but there wasn't that much to it. So I would say Frozen is probably the one I'd pick too. I don't think
nominated because it's one of a handful of animated films that came out this year. I'm just surprised, honestly, that Epic didn't make the cut. I mean, I never saw Epic, but it seems like the sort of movie that plays The Cruise, quite honestly.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised this is the second year in a row that or not second year, but after Cars 2 that another Pixar movie has been shut out. I'm surprised Monsters U didn't make it in.
Well, I guess I'm surprised Monsters U didn't make it in after Brave did last year.
Yeah.
Because Brave was, I don't have anything against Brave, but it definitely wasn't that amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one thing real quick. I'm not sure people give Frozen the credit it deserves for the sort of layered kind of themes it has. It's something I noticed in the Lego Movie and Frozen that they're movies that have themes that are somewhat more nuanced than most kids' movies have. And I really respected both of them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
as far as Frozen goes, I mean, it's a fine movie and all. It's I really appreciated that. I mean, like the opening number especially, and a couple of those first few songs, it really brought back like kind of the Beauty and the Beast kind of feel to me for movies, and I really really appreciated that. Then it got into some of the. I mean, like honestly the rock trolls or whatever those guys were. I wasn't crazy about that, and then like from then on, it was kind of it was a very hit and miss movie for me. Like every once in a while it would blow me away with an awesome song, some great character pieces, and then all of a sudden it would just kind of middle around and like, oh, just kind of normal animated film sort of stuff. But I mean, like, it's a fine film overall. I mean, I'll probably watch it again at some point. It just, I don't know. I didn't find enough in there to really make it a super substantial movie, and not enough blow me away moments to really make me love it, as opposed to just like it, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any more specific categories we wanted to mention?
I mean, best original song, I think we can say, Frozen will win again there. But I just want to say, like, that's a pretty strong category. Like, Happy, Let It Go, and Ordinary Love especially are three really good songs just on their own, to listen to. So I think that's a really good category right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One that's been
Even Alone Yet Not Alone, which got its nomination revoked, was a very pretty song. So anyway.
One that's been kind of been on my mind recently is best editing, because I'm actually not quite sure what's gonna get it in there. Because I mean, like, I want to say like all the technical awards are gonna go to Gravity, but that's the sort of category, because editing isn't necessarily something that like a CG cinematography focused movie like Gravity's gonna win. Then again, to make a lot of those long cuts, long shots work, I don't know. I guess it takes a lot of work in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Gravity's gonna take it. I mean, I think Gravity's gonna take most of the technical awards.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think it's gonna take most of it, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Best film editing is an interesting category because if you pay attention to its history, most of the time, whatever wins best film editing wins best picture. Obviously, there's sometimes where that doesn't happen. Like a year or two ago, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo won best editing. So it's possible that something like Captain, Phillips, which I don't think any of us think is going to win best picture, could pull that off. Because that's a movie that is helped a lot by film editing.
Yeah. Okay. The last category that I would mention is just best visual. Well, did you guys hear about the makeup category? How Dallas Buyers Club only had $250 for their budget?
Oh yeah,
I didn't hear about that.
That's just pretty impressive, and I think knowing that will probably help bump it up above Jackass.
What? No love for Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa or The Lone Ranger? Those two wonderful pieces of literature, of film.
I think we should talk about Lone Ranger on one of these podcasts. But
I get demolished in that one.
I don't have that big of a problem with either of those being nominated. But I don't know that the Academy would honor either of the last two.
Just imagine on the Blu-ray, Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa, an Oscar-winning film.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but the last category I just want to mention real quick is best visual effects, because there's a lot of really good visual effects, I think, this past year.
I agree. Yeah.
I honestly think Iron Man 3 and the Lone Ranger kind of fall a little short compared to what Star Trek did with that, especially with that crash scene. What The Hobbit did with Smaug. And then what Gravity did just with the whole movie. I think Gravity is going to win it, but I just wanted to mention that I think The Hobbit and Star Trek are are two movies that are worth seeing, just even if it's just for the visual effects.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned The Hobbit because when you first mentioned that, I'm like, my first reaction is to say that, I'd kind of put that in the same category as Iron Man 3 and Star Trek. Fine in visual effects and all, but whatever. But then you mentioned Smaug, and also I realized, that movie did have kind of stellar effects at times. Smaug, I think, is just the best representation of a dragon I think I've ever seen on screen. One of the best character effects I think we've seen this year.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was just impressed that I didn't care that he was talking.
It should have been like Mr. Ed, where he just like bobs his head around. You like hear like this dumb voice comes in, you little thief in the night.
Exactly. But also that movie sucks for where. Nick, what were you saying?
I said we've come a long way from Sean Connery and Dragonheart. I don't know if any of you guys ever saw that.
Yes, I saw that.
That's pretty bad.
Okay.
We've come a long way from Sean Connery and Zardoz.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
This isn't a visual podcast anymore.
Yes. So one last thing before we wrap up, just what, and I'm kind of I don't know what the word is, just clotheslining you guys with this question, but what would you say you're most excited to watch in movies coming out in the next month?
Godzilla. That's not this month though. That's a few months from now.
Noah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Noah coming out in the next few months. What's coming out in the next few months? I'm gonna pull up a list or something.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling up a list right now, but I think so. We've got 300, the Grand Piano, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, that one's gonna be. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
I think we're all looking forward to Grand Budapest Hotel a lot. Need for Speed, Noah, Tyler Perry's The Single Moms Club.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously I think I'm excited about Noah. The Raid 2 is supposed to come out in limited. I'm excited about Noah.
Raid 2 coming out this month?
Yeah, in limited, so it might not be out here. March 28th.
If that one counts, that would top my list right now for the next few movies.
Yeah.
Oh, Muppets Most Wanted is coming out too.
Oh yeah. But I gotta say, I'm excited for the Grand Budapest Hotel. That's probably the one I'm most excited for. I'm excited for Noah, and you guys probably haven't watched the show at all, but I'm really excited to see the Veronica Mars movie, which is supposed to come out.
Yeah. You and 20 teenage girls or middle-aged girls now, I guess.
Are you kidding me, dude? There are so many people who are especially guys who are fans of that show.
I wonder why.
Okay, honestly, Joe, you might kind of like it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I probably would actually. It's a sort of thing that if I got into it, I'd probably really enjoy it.
It's got kind of I don't know if you've ever watched. It definitely has sort of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe to it, but with instead of vampires, it's actual just private investigating stuff. But anyway, so that's so we said Noah. Joe said Godzilla, which isn't coming out.
okay, I retract that. If the Raid counts, I'm gonna put the Raid. Honestly, I'm not super psyched for Noah, but just for some, no real reason behind it. It just, I'll watch it. I'm looking forward to it. For some reason, I can't get myself pumped up about it. I don't even know why.
I'm super pumped. Especially in the past week, I've gotten myself. It's probably a bad thing. I've gotten my expectations up really high for the movie.
How can you be excited for Noah when we have Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac coming out pretty soon?
Joe.
Yeah, come on, Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
We all know how much you like Shame. I'm sure you're gonna love Nymphomaniac.
Lars von Trier and Steve McQueen work on a movie together.
Oh my god.
Oh, guys, Enemy comes out apparently also.
Dude, Enemy looks awesome.
That looks weird as hell, but I'm looking forward to it.
Got some serious mood and tone to it.
All right, well, I think that's going to conclude our podcast for the evening. So just real quick, Nick, where can people follow you if they want?
You can follow me on Twitter at Shout92.
Okay. And Joe?
You look me up on Twitter. You'll find me under Credo Films. If you find a picture of a creepy guy with a white killer mask, whatever, that's me.
All right. Yawn face. Still looking around. And you can follow me at PFDUDA. That's PFDuda on Twitter. And that concludes our podcast for this week. We'll see you again soon.
Happy trail.